Now, if you're a guy like me who's very, very introverted and would probably have been content to be a monk living in the Middle Ages, this one's going to bother you. You might be tempted just to click fast forward and be done with it. But I'm going to say it. And I'm going to tell you that even introverts like me can gain a lot from this idea of working with our colleagues. But there's a lot of ways that working with your colleagues can look, and we need to remember that the goal in this whole principle that we're on is that we are trying to be learners. We're trying to be the best learners that we can be. And so you're not just going to work with your colleagues any way that I say. You're going to work with your colleagues in a way that lines up with what you know about yourself. What types of work motivates you? What types of work do you find life-giving? What types of work do you find to be efficient paths to you becoming a more capable teacher? And what types aren't? So some of the stuff that I'm about to say you may throw out, but I hope some of them you'll keep. So the great thing about other people is that they are other people. They're different from you and me. They don't think about stuff the same way. They don't have the same background knowledge that you have. They don't have the same dispositions, tendencies, and biases that you have. And so if you get talking with them very long or working with them, observing them, all of a sudden you're going to see there's a lot of ways to come about this work of teaching. A lot of ways to do it. And so working with colleagues, it kind of introduces the interleaving power tool that we talked about a few modules ago. Because as you work with your colleagues and you discuss shared problems of practice with them, or go and trade observations with them, or maybe start a little writing project with them, well, you're going to see different ways to think about the concepts in this course, the concepts that you're working on, and that's going to produce a type of interleaving for you. So very practically, how can we work with our colleagues? One thing I've had some success with in my past is just having an open-ended conversation with a group of colleagues. It can be in your same discipline. It could be outside of your discipline about what problems are we all running into? What are the biggest problems in your practice right now? And as we discuss that, we try to find one burning question that we'd all like to maybe explore for, let's just say the next month. The next month, we're going to just make a point to talk with each other about this burning question, share things that we find on the internet that can maybe inform our approach to this question. We're going to design little instructional experiments that relate to this burning question. We're going to watch each other teach in relation to this burning question. And we're just going to be a bunch of people, arms linked together, in pursuit of this burning question. I love burning questions because it just makes the overwhelming abundance of things that we can focus on as teachers very, very, very focused. So if you think about my early writing on my blog, the burning question was, what the heck are these Common Core standards and what do they have to do with me? Then the burning question turned into this literacy stuff. Is it really applicable all across the school day? If so, what would that look like? What stuff matters absolutely to all of us as educators, regardless of what we teach, and what stuff can be gotten rid of? And then it shifted into how student motivation work. What does that really boil down to? What are the most efficient means through which you can influence student motivation in a positive direction? Burning questions have been critical the whole way, the whole journey for me that I've undertaken since I started writing as a teacher. And burning questions can be a lot of fun to do with other people. So that's one thing that you can do to work with your colleagues. Another simple thing that you can do is find some folks who are willing to engage in a learning experience with you. You guys can read a book like Dan Willingham's Why Don't Students Like School, and just read a chapter each week and talk about it with each other. Meet over lunch or at the pub, the coffee shop, and just talk about what you take away from the chapter. Doing this type of learning from a book or a course is helpful for all the reasons that I've already described. Another thing you can do, a couple videos ago I talked to you about writing. You can have a little writing project just amongst your like-minded colleagues. Let's say we're each going to write out 5 little pieces about what we're learning in our craft, and we're going to share those with each other each week. We'll write a piece each week, and we'll just sit in a circle, again, coffee shop, pub, in my classroom, and we'll just read our piece to each other. That might sound like a silly thing, but back in the day when I was first started out as writing, I did some of these national writing project groups where that's basically what you would do. You'd each write a piece, you'd read it to the group and have some time for response, and the next person would go. That was incredibly shaping for me as an educator into the educator that I am today. So make a little writing group there in your hallway. See if anyone would be on board for that. And then finally, you can do the whole trading observations thing. Hey, I want to see more classrooms and I'd like some more people to see mine. Can we just this month find a time when you'll come in on your prep, watch me, I'll go in on yours? I know, colleague, you've heard this 19,000 times in your career. You were being told to do this in your earliest days of School of Ed. Now here's this guy telling you to do it again, acting like it's a new idea. No, it's not a new idea. I'm not trying to act like that at all. But what I am saying is that trading observations is a pretty high bang for your buck way to grow in your craft as a teacher, to instill in yourself that if you're really going to bring the principles in this course to bear in a reliable, easy way, you gotta be a learner. And trading observations is a great way to keep that fire of learning alive and well inside of your heart. And that's what I have to say about that. So just work with your colleagues. Do it in a way that makes sense to you, in a way that sounds life-giving to you. And don't be afraid. Even if you're introverted like me, last time I checked, you're not a monk living in the Middle Ages. You're a teacher teaching in the 2020s. And you'll be an even better teacher if you find a way to work with your colleagues.